In the valley of whispering stones, where the wind sang through jagged cliffs and the river glimmered like liquid glass, lived a young girl named Lira. She was not like the other children of the village. While they chased fireflies and played hide and seek among the orchards, Lira spent her afternoons perched on the highest boulder, listening to the stones' murmurs. The stones, ancient as the world itself, whispered stories of forgotten rivers, hidden pathways, and a night sky that once shone brighter than any lantern. One amber-colored evening, as the sun slipped behind the western ridge, a soft rustle disturbed the quiet. From the shadows emerged a silver-furred fox with eyes that glowed like twin moons. He bowed his head, and a single silver feather fell from his tail, landing gently on Lyra's lap. "Do not be frightened," the fox said, his voice a blend of wind and water. "I am Varen, keeper of the star well. Long ago, the stars fell into a hidden spring deep beneath these cliffs, giving the night its light. But the well is drying, and the stars are fading. If the well empties, the night will grow dim forever." Lyra's heart quickened. She had always felt a tug in her chest when the night fell, as if something unseen called to her. "How can I help?" she asked, her voice barely louder than the whisper of the river. Varen's tail flicked, scattering a few more feathers. "Only a child whose heart beats in rhythm with the stones can reach the star well. You must find the 3 keys of dawn: the feather of the first flight, the crystal of the silent echo, and the ember of the last hearth. Bring them to the well, and the waters will rise again." The fox vanished into the dusk, leaving Lyra alone with the silver feather and a promise that felt both impossible and inevitable. She slipped home, tucked the feather under her shirt, and set out at first light, guided by the soft hum of the stones beneath her feet. The first clue lay in the meadow of golden grasses, where the wind wove patterns like invisible looms. There, perched atop a lone oak, sang a nightingale whose feathers shimmered with dew. The bird's song was a riddle. "From the highest sky I fell, yet I never touched the ground. Find me where the clouds rest, and I shall be yours to crown." Lyra thought of the feather in her pocket, of the sky's endless blue, and of the clouds that gathered over the distant mountain peaks. She trekked toward the highest hill, where the clouds seemed to hug the earth. At the summit, a cavern opened, its entrance veiled by a curtain of mist. Inside, the air was cool and smelled of pine and rain. At the cavern's heart stood a pedestal of smooth stone, and atop it rested a single feather, brighter than any she had ever seen. It pulsed with a faint golden light, as if breathing. Lyra reached out, and the moment her fingers brushed the feather, a warm wind swirled around her, lifting the mist and revealing a hidden passage that led deeper into the mountain. She tucked the feather of the first flight into her satchel and pressed onward. The passage twisted like a serpent, its walls etched with ancient symbols that glowed faintly when she passed. After what felt like hours, the tunnel opened into a cavern of crystal, each stalactite sparkling like 1,000 tiny stars. In the center of the cavern floated a crystal orb, suspended by an unseen force, humming a low, resonant tone. A voice, neither male nor female, echoed through the crystal walls. "You seek the crystal of the silent echo, child of the stones. To claim it, you must hear the sound that does not exist." Lyra closed her eyes, remembering the stone's murmurs. She listened to the silence between the drops of water that fell from the ceiling, to the faint vibration of the earth beneath her feet. In that stillness, a single note rose, a note that was not heard but felt, a vibration that resonated in her chest. She extended her hand, and the crystal orb descended, settling gently in her palm. Its surface was smooth, reflecting not her face, but the memory of every whisper she had ever heard. With 2 keys in hand, Lyra felt a surge of confidence. The final key, the Ember of the Last Hearth, was said to lie in the ruins of an old village that the stones had once protected. The ruins were a place of stories, where the stones remembered every laugh, every tear, and every promise made beneath their watchful gaze. The journey to the ruins took her across a river of silver, over a bridge woven from vines that sang when the wind brushed them. When she arrived, the village lay in quiet decay, its stone houses collapsed, its streets overgrown with ivy. Yet in the center stood a stone hearth, its stones blackened by centuries of fire, yet somehow still warm to the touch. Lira knelt before the hearth and whispered, "Great stones, I ask for the ember of the last hearth, that the night may shine again." As if answering, a small flame ignited within the hearth, flickering blue and gold. The fire grew, shaping itself into a tiny ember that hovered above the stones, pulsing with a steady heartbeat. Lira reached out, and the ember settled into her palm, warm as a sunrise. Now bearing all 3 keys, Lira turned back toward the mountain, where Varen had promised the Starwell lay. The path seemed shorter, as if the stones themselves were guiding her steps. When she reached the hidden spring, she found the well, a deep, crystal-clear pool fed by a waterfall that sang a mournful tune. The water level was low, and the surface reflected a sky dimmer than any night she had known. She placed the feather of the first flight on the edge of the well. The feather fluttered, and a gentle breeze rose, swirling the water into tiny spirals. Next, she set the crystal of the silent echo into the pool. The crystal sang a note that resonated through the cavern, causing the stone walls to vibrate in harmony. Finally, she dropped the ember of the last hearth into the water. The ember burst into a cascade of golden sparks, each one sinking into the depths and igniting a hidden current. The water surged upward, filling the well until it overflowed, spilling into the river that ran through the valley. As the water rose, the night sky above the valley began to change. Stars that had been faint flickered brighter, their light weaving into constellations that told new stories. Stories of bravery, of listening, of caring for the world that listens back. Varen reappeared at the edge of the well, his silver fur shimmering in the renewed starlight. "You have done what many thought impossible," he said, his voice now a chorus of wind, water, and stone. "The night will shine because you listened to the stones, trusted the whispers, and followed the path of your heart." Lira smiled, feeling the cool night air brush her cheeks. The villagers, who had gathered after hearing the river's roar, looked up in awe as the sky burst into a tapestry of light. Children pointed to the new constellations, naming them after the brave girl, the silver fox, and the 3 keys that saved the night. That night, as Lira lay beneath the open sky, she heard the stones' murmurs once more, but now they sang a different song, a lullaby of gratitude. She realized that the world was full of hidden wells, fading lights, and quiet voices waiting to be heard. All it took was a willing heart and the courage to follow a whisper. From that day forward, the Valley of Whispering Stones became a place where every child learned to listen, not just with ears, but with the rhythm of their own hearts. And whenever the night seemed dim, they would look to the stars, remember Lyra's journey, and know that even the smallest voice could bring back the light.